The final myth, which again will not go away, is that there is an option still for Thanet to enter into a CPO arrangement with another third party, and that mysteriously a CPO is quicker than a DCO. And I saw this on another social media site, which shall be nameless, just a couple of days ago. Now, just to remind you of the process, because we know, because we went through this. The process requires the council, and this is not the cabinet, it's the whole council, to pass a resolution proposing the CPO. Before it can do that, it has to have entered into an indemnity agreement with a commercial partner, which is capable and has demonstrated to the council's satisfaction, if they can, that they've covered all the council's risks. Also, the council and its funder has to show that an approach has been made to the owner to purchase the site and that at a reasonable price, and that the owner has rejected that offer. And finally, before that can even go any further, they would have to explain the disconnect between a decision to go for a compulsory purchase order and their decision to de-zone the airport as an airport. Now, even if that is done, there is then a whole rigmarole process that you have to go through. There's a statement of reasons that has to be served on the owners. The owners have the right to object. The objections have to be served on the minister. The minister has to decide whether the objections are valid. If the minister decides that the objections are valid, and at this point, they would have to show that this is not a DCO. They would have to show that this is a much more modest proposal, which doesn't qualify as a DCO. Because if it was a DCO, it would be a criminal offence. So they would have to show that it wasn't a DCO, and why, and they would have to satisfy the minister that they could make it viable as a small airport, when it clearly isn't. And only if the minister was satisfied with that would the CPO process begin. And then, at that point, there is submissions and evidence and so on, and some of you will remember. That matter is finally dealt with, eventually, by a public inquiry. It's not the same procedure as for a DCO. Well, how likely is that? I mean, there are so many obstacles to that process, it's hard to see how that could ever happen. But even if they overcame all those obstacles, it's difficult to see any of that happening in less than 2 or 3 years. But it's a myth that's out there. There is, among some people, a sense that Thanet have only got to pass a resolution and the CPO will happen. It really is not like that at all.